making the person pay it, the fans that they get through. And they've changed the form.
You are
to
on.
be allowed
15 seconds.
And they've taken it, it used to, especially in softball and baseball, the umpires had to sit there and you got to working on it, you got back this far. They've taken that away, and it's just inside the fence now. That's administrative. Administrators don't do something about it. They have to make it.
Park and Rec. You got 35 seconds.
I'll be okay.
This damn thing ain't working.
Michael Anthony Hall. And I'll take a picture and send you the address.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right.
I have bifocal contacts and readers.
Good evening, welcome everyone to the work session of the Kingston City Council. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand. Mr. Brown would lead us in invocation. Ms. Bright would lead us in the pledge of the flag.
Pray with me, please. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight thanking you for all that you do for us. Thank you for this beautiful weather that we're having. Be with all of us as we try to make the best decisions that we know for the city, and lead us and guide us and direct us so that we would make you proud of the decisions we make. Again, we thank you for your Son who died for us on the cross, and we give you praise every day. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Do we have any citizens tonight that wish to address the council in this work session? Yes. Please state your name and your address, please.
Nancy Hamilton, 2623 Longville Road, Kingston. I'm just here as a school board member to kind of give you an update what's happening in our schools. We got off to a great start of schools. I want to share some numbers with you. I think it's really important to think about the number of children that's being educated in our community. We have about 6344 within our district, and we have 1954 in our Kingston schools. So we have about 1954. We have about 30. I think that's about 32% of our population in our district. So Kingston Elementary, just FYI, 799, and then we have 18 pre-K, which is a great program. A lot of our children are kind of being introduced to kindergarten. Cherokee Middle, 526, and Roane County High School, 630. Second thing, just to let you guys, I think I reported last time, our board had a board retreat back in July where we talked about potential building, those kind of things. And so at our next board meeting, a new chair and vice chair will be elected. So I'm sure those potential leaders will begin conversations with the powers that be on what will happen, if anything will happen, that kind of thing. And then last week, we had several members of our board attend the state regional meeting of the East Tennessee region at Anderson County. And we had 3 of our board members were recognized by the Tennessee State School Board Association for completing different levels of their required professional development. So that's what's happening in our schools, and hope to see you guys at the ball game on Friday night. Go Jackets.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council?
My name is Jinx Watson. I live at 1291 Cove Road, Kingston. And I may be completely off topic, so correct me and stop me before I give my little speechifying here. Number 5, talking about personnel policies. Somehow or other I heard that you were going to consider cutting benefits.
No, ma'am, and that's been pulled from the agenda tonight. We're sending it back to the committee. So
Great.
I did, and to my knowledge, the best of my knowledge, and Mr. Bowling backed me up, there's no benefits being cut.
No. The only real issue was we were still looking at a possible change to what happens with sick time when an employee retires. And we're gonna have to fine tune that a little bit. It would only affect long-term employees that have been here a long time, so we're gonna have to look at that, but we're trying to find a way to maybe make accrued sick time have more benefit for a retiring employee, but that's the only thing that was proposed. And to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, but that wouldn't have any bearing on the library because they're not governed by us, they're governed by you, so.
Right, and actually, I'm here not representative of the library. I'm here because I was a public servant for 42 years, and so I couldn't live today without my benefits. And I see it as a family-friendly policy. A lot of young people are more interested in the benefits package than the little salary that public servants get. So that's all I wanted to say. Did my speech anyway, didn't it?
No, we're not cutting any benefits. Is there anyone else?
Hi, I'm Linda Whiffenbarger, and we came to the city council a few months ago to put a baby box in at the fire hall number 1, where Willie Gordon is. And Sue and I raised enough money in less than a month to put the baby box in. So we ordered the baby box. We raised, about $21,010. So we ordered the baby box, which was $12,000. The rest goes to have it installed. So, and we raised enough it's $300 a year for maintenance, and we raised enough for 10 years of maintenance.
Great,
So
great.
it
Thank
should
you.
be in around November and put in probably close to December, and we'll have a big open house
Absolutely.
and buddy barbecue for the whole shebang. Is there any questions?
No.
Thank you
Excellent
very
job.
much.
Okay, thank you.
All right. See anyone else? We're going to item number 4 is discussion of an ordinance 2309-1201, ordinance amending the annual budget for the city of Kingston, Tennessee for fiscal year 2023-2024. Ms. Kelly.
Yeah, I explained in the memo pretty much, but just to sum it up, the public works trucks didn't get purchased until this fiscal year, so we had to reallocate that money from last year. The fitness court, you all had already agreed on that purchase, and this is just to move those funds. And then our server is 5 years old, and we were hoping to get through to next budget year, but the problem is our system has become too big for the server we have. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then the kayaks have been replaced, and we got insurance money for that. So it's pretty much cut and dry, and this is the first amendment of the year, and maybe we won't have too many or too much money moving, but that's it.
Are there any questions about this ordinance? Okay. Seeing none, item 5 was the personnel policy, which we've sent it back, so we'll bring it up at a different time. Number 6 is continuing discussion to authorize of expenditures of the amount not to exceed $90,000 for maintenance and repairs to the Ladd and Morris Hill water tanks. Mr. Bowling, Mr. Hamilton.
So this is just a little house cleaning we did. If you remember last month, you approved this. We just didn't follow the right procedure to have it added to the agenda. Should have done that by vote, and we didn't. We didn't think we had to do that on water board, but we do. So we just need to put that back on the agenda this month and re-vote on that. Those are funds that have already been appropriated through the budget. We just need to get approval to spend them so we can get that work done this fall. So
Sounds good. Are there any questions on that one? Okay. Number 7 is discussion to authorize the mayor to enter into a professional service agreement with the Ardura Group, Inc. for professional services related to the ARC Ladd Landing Expansion Project. Mr. Bowling, I assume this is the engineering company that is replacing the one that quit for us.
they, if you remember, that firm abruptly quit several months ago. We had to go back through the procurement process to identify a new firm. We have Ardura in place. You have their agreement there, and we're ready to get them in so we can get this moving forward. So we think we've got a good proposal there. As I mentioned, we use them. We're using them on some of our ARPA projects, and we've used them on some other stuff. So they've been very, very responsive and good to work with, and I have no doubt they'll be great on this too. So recommend that for approval.
Yeah, we'll add it to the agenda. Does anyone question on that project? We'd like to get it rolling as soon as possible.
Yes.
Item 8 is discussion of approval to write off uncollectible water accounts. Ms. Kelly?
I'm sorry, no, Kevin asked me a question right in the middle of that.
Blank.
Those are just old accounts where people have deceased and we cannot locate them, and that's just something that we need to get those off the books. And we've been trying to work on these gradually as we go so that we can get our accounts receivable looking a little bit cleaner.
So is there several more of these to come later, or you about?
I'm sure because they gradually go through accounts trying to find, I mean, because we actually have rules about sending them to AMS, and once they are old and beyond that point, then we'll just have to bring them to you, especially if we can't locate customers.
I think it's 7 years. Is that correct?
Okay.
7 years they're in play.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions about the uncollectible water accounts? Awful quiet tonight. All right, that's the end of the agenda we have. We had a short agenda for tonight. So I'll start going around the room. Mr. Reddle, do you have anything? Mr. Childs?
No.
Mr. Gwynn? Mr. Brown?
What do we need to do anything about the papers that are on the desk?
No, I'll discuss one of them when it gets back to me.
No, thank you.
Ms. Wright, do you have anything?
I'll go ahead and steal a little bit of thunder that I'm sure David's gonna talk about. Since we have a meeting on Tuesday and Bassmaster will have already started rolling into town by then, I just wanna give a kind of loose, schedule. Hopefully we'll have something formal, more formal forthcoming, but, I think that we're gonna close the parks on Sunday. Monday, they will start setting up. The pit stop will be at Gravel Pit. The rest of their equipment will be at City Park. And they will also start practice rounds, through those couple of days, so you should be able to see some of those, sponsored trucks and trailers coming in. Wednesday is registration. I believe it's gonna run from 12:30 to 4, I think. And then Thursday, is the first day of the tournament. Blast off will be at 7:15. The first batch of weigh-ins will be at 3:30. The same for Friday. And then Saturday, there's only 10 boats in the championship, but the same timing will apply. Pretty much every ramp and parking lot that is available will be closed off. It's quite a large amount of people that are coming. So, and then go ahead.
No, I was just going to, so they're going to do the weigh-in at City Park?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the only other thing I have is on the 20th, we did confirm that Riverline is going to be doing their presentation for Downtown Dock, their concept plan at the food truck rally that night at the old courthouse lawn. So be sure to come by and look at that plan and give your feedback to them. And that's all I have.
Okay.
The Bassmaster tournament.
Do you know if they've got all of their help that they need?
They are
The watchers and the filmers and all that stuff that goes with the
yeah,
fishermen.
they travel with all that crew.
Okay.
They will have some volunteer work to do. They asked the high school kids from the Bass organization to help with that, and the directors for the Tennessee area. I know they're really experts on packing as many trucks and trailers in those boat ramps as they can. They park way more than our brains can get around because they do it so often. So it's exciting and can't wait to see it happen.
Ms. Johnson, do you have anything? No. I've got just a couple of things before I go down on things. So some of the things you saw on your table tonight was some stuff that Mr. Gwynn had done from Road Alliance, and also a letter from the Mexican restaurant on Gallagher Road wishing to be annexed, and talking with the attorney. I think we might be able to get that started by next week if it's not too bad. So also, if it's not this month, it'll be next month. I'm going to do an ad hoc committee. In October of 2024 is our 225th birthday, And I want to put an ad hoc committee together to plan the celebration, how we're going to do it, and get input from the public and also from the council. Mr. Brown has already agreed to be on council rep. If anybody else wants to help, I don't have a problem with that. Anybody can help that wants to. So, and I think that's all I got. So I'll go to, well, I'm going to you, Mr. Thompson. Last month we had talked about our item 7 on the irregular agenda about adding items to the agenda after to close the deadline. Did you find any information?
I did, Mayor. Give me 1 second and let me pull that up.
Did he? I didn't see it.
Gotta read those.
That doesn't mean I know. When did he send it? What day?
It basically says it's fine as long as it abides by our voting rules and rules of procedure.
23rd.
That's correct, Mayor.
Thank you.
I
Miss-
read my emails.
I didn't get one,
I'm
I
just-
didn't get one either.
so I didn't get it. So
Oh, it may have been directed to me since I asked the question. Sorry. I
Okay, well,
should've-
But
That's
there's a
okay.
time set in the charter when that,
Yeah.
the time starts,
The what?
that it's got to be in. You're talking about adding something
like
to the agenda?
like we added agenda.
There's a clause in the charter that says when that time starts.
You know, we've always added them, items can be added to the agenda that weren't on there by, I think it's unanimous consent, and we can still do that as long as we have a policy for it. So, if, you know, if we were doing it before the law, law change. It was all about the public notification laws that passed.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we are still in compliance in doing that. But that's where it came up, you know, with the issue with the water tanks that we do have to add, you know, whether it's water board or any committee of the city, anything that's added to agenda has to be done with a vote, so.
So in saying that, does that mean Parks and Rec, library, everyone has to post their agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
And if they can add something to it at the night of their meeting, but they have to follow the same
Okay.
rules that you all do, so.
Okay, good. I'm glad we got clarification on that.
Okay.
Is it just legislative though, or is it advisory boards included?
From what I was told, and correct me if I'm wrong, from what I was told, it was anything that's under the legislative umbrella. So, you know, if it's a committee if it's a council committee, it would be governed under the same rules. Now, if it was an ad hoc committee or a committee that I put together, something like that, it would be different. But if it's a committee acting on behalf of the city council, then they would be governed by the same
And that all
policy.
spelled out and mentioned, planning commission, parks and recreations, water boards. Yeah, it went as deep to mention several of them.
That's
As an
my
example.
understanding.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Bowling, do you have anything?
I do, a couple things. First of all, going with the fishing tournament, obviously we're very excited about that, a little nervous. But we had a good meeting last week with Bassmaster. He helped my anxiety a lot, so I appreciated that. But I just want to thank Councilmember Gwynn. He helped us out big time with TVA, arranging a contact for us, and TVA is going to help us out with parking. Going to take a big load off of us. So thank you for that, and thanks to Councilmember Wright and everybody that's been involved in pulling this off. This will by far be the biggest thing we've ever done in terms of fishing tournament, but I think it's really going to set us off the right path. So we hope to make a good first impression. The other news that I have, not as good, unfortunately, but you know, we've been working a long time on the STP project to resurface Ladd Boulevard, and the plan was to pave that this fall. We're not going to make that. So it's a combination of problems we've had with the engineer, but mostly with TDOT. Things weren't getting processed, and come to find out, long story short, there's been a staffing change at TDOT. The person that was over that is no longer over it, and we now have the new contact, but those things were just kind of piling up and weren't getting addressed. So there's been a revised schedule, now looking at spring to get that. So
Because we're so late into the summer, probably better because of winter to do it in
Yeah.
spring anyway.
So, you know, we were hoping to have the project wrapped up by the end of the calendar year, but unfortunately, that's just not gonna happen, so hopefully all the
Costs us
pieces.
more money too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully all the pieces are in place, but, you know, it was just one of those things that's frustrating, but nothing we can do about it, so. But we think we're in a good place now, so.
Okay. Anything else? Mr. Bowling, you have anything else? Mr. Hamilton, do you have anything?
I don't have anything tonight.
Do you have anything else? Okay. Anything else from anyone? Mr. Quinn?
Just what those papers I laid, it's an idea of who is there, what they do. The meeting I went to and sit down and was very constructive. Shows where our money's going. And I think it's this year, I don't know the years past, but this year our money went really good. So that's all I gotta say. Just look at it when you get a chance.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything? All right. This meeting's adjourned.
David, you know Mr.
I know
Diggs
it's our
retired?
town that works